What's up guys, Kaplow here for another Cyberpunk Basic.
Alright everyone, let's get into how you can start building out your stealth kit in Cyberpunk 2077. These are all suggestions, not necessarily what is required in order to have a successful stealth build. On top of that, in each section, we are going to review some of the optional actions you can take in order to have successful stealth runs through missions and gigs. As part of this video, we will review the stats and skills you can take to support a stealth build, the cyberware you can install to support your stealth build, the quick hacks that will augment everything, and then the weapon and/or weapons that will benefit your stealth build. So let's start with stats and skills. For stealth, your primary skill trees will go cool, intelligence, and technical ability in that order of priority. Cool focuses primarily on weapon skills as well as skills that benefit you being crouched. For example, feline footwork makes you move faster while crouched. While the speed is nice for getting around, you will also need it in the event you need to move past enemies' eyes. The less time you spend in front of someone, the harder it is for them to spot you and put you into combat. The left side of the skill tree is primarily focused on headshot damage and other perks that will help you take out enemies quickly, whether you're in stealth or in combat. There are certainly times where the game ignores your ability to sneak around in silence and puts you in combat anyway, so damage skills that work outside of stealth will be necessary no matter what. The middle of your skill tree is primarily focused on crouched movement. Some of the skills directly aid in crouched movement, while others help with damage mitigation when in combat. Unexposed, for example, makes it so you're less likely to take damage at all when you're aiming from cover, and small target makes you harder to hit when you're crouched and not moving. Put those two together, and you're going to want to crouch whether you're in combat or just in a hostile area. The right side of the cool skill tree is all about thrown weapons, but skills like Killer Instinct will also benefit silenced weapons. I personally love using thrown weapons strictly from a style standpoint, but they can also do massive amounts of damage, and when combined with the right cyberware, can even do more damage from stealth than a silenced pistol. Let's move on to the intelligence tree. No matter how strong your stealth game is, the intelligence tree will augment your stealth by allowing you to gather more information through things like camera control and ping, separating enemies from each other with quick hacks like bait, and even taking people out who would otherwise be unreachable. On top of that, if you're looking to be stealthy and not leave a trail of bodies behind, quick hacks will be paramount to that success. For a few examples, you are likely to run into a scenario where you need to take out an enemy, but using a quick hack will get you traced. Abilities like encryption will make it take longer for an enemy netrunner to find you out, giving you more time to move far enough away or neutralize the individual who's tracking you. Add Shadowrunner to the mix, and you'll even be able to reset the timer to give you a bit more breathing room. The intelligence tree primarily gives you more RAM and increases your RAM recovery for all the quick hacks that you might need to utilize, but a few of them will directly affect your ability to stay in stealth while giving you flexibility with the way you choose to approach a given situation. Now, moving over to the technical tree, one of the great advantages of this tree is that it will open up the ability for you to use your technical skills to open certain doors that you would otherwise not be able to open. You can also upgrade your body stat in order to brute force doors, but body does not directly benefit a stealth build. Aside from door opening, the technical tree gives you a number of options related to cyberware, and the cyberware you choose will directly benefit your stealth build. All that being said, the advantages of the technical ability tree on a stealth build are marginal in relation to the cool or intelligence tree, so we don't need to spend too much time here. Now that we've reviewed the skill trees, let's move over to cyberware. There are a few modifiers that you want to focus on. Those are bonus stealth damage, headshot damage, and decreased enemy vision. Bonus stealth damage increases the amount of damage you do when people are unaware of your presence. As you level, you'll run into more and more enemies with large health bars, and you generally want to avoid situations where you need to shoot an enemy more than once. Abilities like Gag Order will minimize the negative effects of such situations because it allows you to shoot them again and drop out of combat, but it's harder to make those hits against someone moving than against someone who is just standing still. Headshot damage is important for the same reasons as just mentioned, and you generally want to choose pieces of cyberware that are cool attuned since they will add even more headshot damage to your build. Intelligence attuned gives you more damage in general, but it can give you a max of 1% damage, whereas cool attuned can max out at 4% increase in headshot damage. Decreased enemy vision gives you more time to pass in front of enemies without arousing too much suspicion. Now let's talk about some specific pieces of cyberware that will help a ton. First up, we have Link's Paws. Link's Paws increase your crouch movement speed and also makes you quieter when you move. I primarily take them for the extra movement speed. I have never really had an issue with the amount of noise I made, but it will help you sneak up on or sneak by enemies. The one drawback of Link's Paws is that they don't have the jumping options that other leg cyberware has. Next up is optical camo. This can allow you to scoot right by a room full of enemies by reducing your visibility by 90%, and can be your saving grace if you get spotted and need a few more moments to get out of an enemy's line of sight. The big drawback here is that the optical camo ability will replace your grenade slot. If you want to throw grenades in combat, then you will need to reslot your grenades. If you're going into a combat scenario, then you can go here and then here to re-equip your grenades, so the trade-off is not so bad. Synaptic Accelerator slows down time when someone's awareness of you gets to 50%, which can give you just enough time to react and prevent someone from sounding the alarm. Synaptic Accelerator plus optical camo has saved me more times than I would care to count. Lastly, if you like thrown weapons, then you will absolutely want to get handle wrap. The increase in crit chance when you equip a thrown weapon is enormous. This almost guarantees a crit, and will make taking out an enemy with 2 health bars much easier than if you used a pistol. Now, not all cyberware will directly benefit your stealth build, but you'll want to have some balance no matter your build. Now that we've taken a quick peek at cyberware, let's jump into Quickhacks. We touched on them a bit earlier, but now we can take a look at what each one does. There are a number of Quickhacks that can be helpful during a stealth mission, but there are a few that I would like to highlight. Those are ping, system collapse, bait, and memory wipe. And all of these are untraceable. Let's start with ping. Ping is a pretty basic quick hack that you can use on any item to reveal everyone and most everything. While it's fantastic for highlighting where each of your enemies are, my favorite part about it is that it highlights explosive devices. Using overload on those devices can take out enemies who might have otherwise been inaccessible. At higher levels, you can even quick hack devices through walls so that you don't need line of sight. In an example scenario, I might use ping outside of a building to highlight everything, control a camera in a room from behind a wall, and then detonate explosive to take people out without even being in the same room. There are a number of creative ways that you can use this to your advantage. Now let's talk about system collapse. This one just knocks people out. It can't be traced, and it works on enemies with large health bars. You can even use it on the mechs that you might find in Dogtown. The only drawback is that it takes quite a bit of RAM. However, if I use overclock and have spillover, I can even knock out multiple enemies. It won't work on enemies like bosses, but it can shut down just about anyone else. Bait is an excellent ability in that it does not depend on there being a device nearby to grab someone's attention. If there are noisy devices nearby, then distract enemy may be a better bang for your buck from a RAM perspective, but bait does the trick very well in pulling someone toward you rather than toward an object. You can also use the request backup covert hack, but it pulls a random enemy toward your target rather than grabbing the attention of a specific individual. One of the best uses of bait is that you can pull people toward a camera if you use it from a camera that you control. It's a decent way to bunch people up for a spreading quick hack like Contagion. Memory wipe is one of my favorites for managing enemies without incapacitating them. For this one, I recommend using the Tier 4 version. Tier 5 is quite powerful if you want to force everyone out of combat, but it uses a base of 32 RAM, whereas the Tier 4 version uses 10 RAM and allows you to slip by unnoticed. On top of that, any quick hack that is queued after memory wipe cannot be traced. This can allow you to do something like use memory wipe and then drop Contagion. You get to do massive damage all without getting traced. Of course, you don't need to use this list, and you don't necessarily have to use quick hacks at all, but a good combination of quick hacks with your other stealth skills gives you a level of flexibility that allows gigs and missions that require or encourage stealth to be a bit more forgiving. Last on the docket is the weapons to choose. Long-range stealth is an option in this game, but let's focus on short-range stealth, which is going to be the primary way in which you'll engage in stealth, especially with how many missions and gigs happen indoors. Thrown weapons are a great option for stealth. They can do massive amounts of damage, and with the handle wrap cyberware, you can take out enemies with larger health pools than average that you might not otherwise be able to take in a single shot with a silenced pistol. They are also incredibly strong in the event you enter combat. However, if you need to take out multiple enemies in quick succession, then a silenced pistol is going to be your best choice. Personally, I carry both a thrown weapon as well as a silenced pistol. Unfortunately, when it comes to silencers, only power weapons can use silencers, and not all power weapons can use silencers. For example, I don't think I have found a single revolver that allows silencers. I have found a few silencers for SMGs and rifles, but the cool tree typically gives bonuses to pistols and sniper rifles, so SMGs and other rifles are not great options. The one downside of silencers is that they reduce your in-combat damage, despite the massive increase in stealth damage. You'll want to have some other options handy in the event you trip over yourself and wind up in combat, despite all of your skill, cyberware, quick hack, and weapon choices. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, give it a like. Think about subscribing, and good luck surviving Night City.